You have to be willing to make a difficult decision, right? To say we're gonna cut this.
Coming to you from the Taft Podcast Studio in the heart of JXNGOP headquarters. This is Stars, Stripes, and Straight Talk with Chris and Dave.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for coming back by the channel. This is Stars, Stripes,
and Straight Talk.
I'm Chris.
I'm Dave.
And look who's back.
Yeah, we had so much fun with Nate last time, we decided to have him back for another episode. So,
that's right.
Today we're going to be going through the illustrious speech of our wonderful leader here in Michigan, the witch. Do we call her the witch still, or
Whitmer?
Whitmer. I mean, she's got so many great nicknames.
Right.
But Gretchen Whitmer.
I mean, you add them all together between her, Benson, and Nessel, it's like hocus pocus, right?
Hopefully soon it's going to be an episode of Orange is the New Black.
Hey, speaking of, I'm going to do a shout out for another podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to watch it. I don't know if you do, but Nessel and the Attorney General of Arizona have got together and started their own podcast, Pantsuits and Lawsuits. Come on.
Are you serious?
I swear on my children.
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez, that's got to be awful.
Pantsuits and Lawsuits.
Is that how to avoid prosecuting your fellow politicians who break laws? And
you could make a movie called Pantsuits and Lawsuits and just make it out about Hillary Clinton. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And all of the lawsuits she should be facing.
You're
Nate,
absolutely right. 100%.
No, too far?
No.
We have lines here.
What's the line? I didn't see a line.
I do not want to be suicided anytime soon.
Dave,
we don't talk about the Clintons.
Like
I mean,
he said, I don't want to be Epstein.
You know, I mean, because honestly, Epstein.
I don't want
he
to
hung
be
himself,
Epstein.
right?
Sure.
So
yeah.
I just, everybody out there, a Hillary bill. It wasn't me. It was Nate. I think you guys are doing a fine job.
Just throwing me under the bus.
Well, hey, I have the actual in my hand, all 8 pages of the Whitmer speech at the Mackinac Policy, whatever she was at. What is this? Mackinac Policy Conference.
All right.
And she's talking about doing the hard things.
Ooh.
I don't know what she would be referring to.
So is this our first reaction video, Chris? Oh,
Yeah,
we're
I
going to
guess
be
it
reacting, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. This is kind of an old school reaction.
Old school. So you people that don't understand, there was a thing before videos called paper.
Right.
And you would read from that paper.
This is like reacting when you're sitting around your dining room table with your family reading the Sunday paper and somebody reads something ridiculous. That's what we're about to do.
All right.
Well, the good thing is she's got enough ridiculous stuff in her terms here that we should have some fun with this one.
Hey.
So I guess
and make sure if you got anything that you'd like to comment on these, throw it down in the comments.
Right.
And let us know what you feel about the wonderful leader we have here in Michigan.
Right. For the next 2 years, right? You said wonderful. That's an
She is
oxymoron.
wonderful. I mean, come on.
That's an oxymoron.
Hey, I drove today and there was road construction.
Yeah, she talks
She's
about that in
fixing
this
our
speech.
damn roads.
She talks about that in this speech. But, she's fixing the roads, but how long did it take them to fix 94? From Cooper to, what is it, Elm? 4 years? I mean, literally, they just opened it up, didn't they?
Yep.
And now they're doing the bridge on Cooper Street right by the train track.
Was that even her, though? Some of that stuff was done with that federal
That's all.
infrastructure.
It's not her?
Federal, yeah.
I mean, she took credit for all of the roads. So
She raised the taxes, the gas taxes.
right.
Stuff,
All right, so let's jump right into this speech.
Yes, let's get into it. Let's get into the weeds here.
When you hear something you want to discuss, just stop me, blurt it out, whatever. So she goes on to say, it's great to be back at MPC for my 7th year as governor. This afternoon, I want to talk about our ability to do the hard things. Some people call it grit. It's our willingness to work together in the short term to get things done that make a big difference in the long term. It sounds like a little thing that Kamala said, right? Forget about what's been to forget the past or whatever that was.
Unburdened.
Unburdened.
By what has been.
I guess the question is, who's she working together with?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It's
right. She doesn't say yet. Let's see. Michigan is a diverse state in every sense of the word, but it's our ability to unite around shared priorities that makes us special. Shared priorities. So it sounds like she's talking about working with the Republicans. Sounds like.
Yeah.
We
Well,
solve
I guess
problems.
the question. Well, hopefully she gets into what some of these priorities
Hey,
are. 'Cause
that's what
my
I'm thinking.
priorities, your priorities, and her priorities are probably, completely different
She
sides.
says
of the
we solve problems that others write off as unsolvable.
Like what?
I-
We can't even fix our roads. I don't know if you've been to other states, but they don't have those problems.
right?
Yeah,
Not like us.
We prove time and time again that we can do the hard things. What? Stop her husband from taking his boat out when the state's on COVID lockdown? I don't see that as being too hard.
Greatest response ever. Would it help if I told you I'm the governor's husband?
Yeah, no.
Not a bit.
So for you guys down from Michigan that don't know, we got to tell the story real quick. During COVID, we could couldn't eat indoors, but we could eat outdoors in like a plastic bubble because that was safe somehow.
Right.
So we could eat indoors, outdoors. So there's all these silly rules we had.
couldn't-
One of them was that it wasn't safe for us to go boating.
Well, no, it wasn't just boating. You couldn't canoe because that wasn't safe.
Because that wasn't safe,
But
right?
you couldn't buy gas for your boat because it put the gas station attendants at harm.
Yes. Multiple different things.
Everything was shut down.
But because she's the governor, it's different. She was up and she's going to have a party Memorial Day or something. And they called the local marina and said, hey, can you put our boat in? He's like, dude, we just got the order. I got thousands of boats to put in because we just now opened up, right? And the only reason they opened up because she wanted to put her boat in, obviously, right? So her husband calls up and he's like, no, I'm sorry. I can't get your boat in. We're 3-4 weeks behind. Would it help if I told you I was the governor's husband? Needless to say, the guy who's had his business shut down for over a year did not accommodate his request. I wish I could have been on that phone call. So hey,
Right.
continue, Chris.
All right. So she goes on to say, we all know this, that citizens across the political spectrum are frustrated. Broken promises, stagnating wages, and increasing polarization leads people to listen to the loudest or angriest voices in the room. Michiganders deserve better. We cannot give in to the instant gratification that comes from cheap, divisive, anger-driven politics.
Hold on. Okay. Who said this?
That's the governor.
Gretchen Whitmer?
Yeah,
Big Gretch.
Big Gretch.
So she thinks divisive politics are
A bad
something
thing.
we deserve better?
yeah,
Gretchen Whitmer.
yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Did she have does she have amnesia?
Right.
Does anyone know? Has she
Does
had
anyone fact checking this?
Has
Crazy
she being checked by the same doctors that checked Biden? What's going on? Because
right?
she seems to have lost her memory. 'Cause
Right.
She's spent an awful lot of time in divisive politics.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure she's one of the 86-47 people, isn't
Oh,
she?
I think she is.
She had that little thing in her background.
The president is at it again and inspiring and incentivizing.
Got him! Got him!
But don't be divisive.
That's
Don't
not
be
divisive.
No. It's only a problem if the Republicans do it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only time
And
it's a
for
problem.
those of you who don't know, I never worked in the restaurant or industry. 86 is get rid of it, right?
That means you're
means
out of it.
you're out of it.
You're out
and
of
that's
it.
in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the police industry, 86 means, well, we're on YouTube, so I got to say this like stupid word, unalived.
Unalived? Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Oh gosh. What has happened to the world?
Yeah.
Unalived.
Right. And if someone unalives themselves, you have to say deleted.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
They deleted themselves.
they deleted them.
Isn't that crazy? Because words make people nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Let's we got a lot of
Oh my
speech to get through here.
Oh.
Okay, she says we need leadership that provides certainty and executes a clear long-term strategy instead of lurching from
Hold on,
self-inflicted.
long term, like in how long it's taken to fix our roads. All right.
Right.
Sorry, I had to go there. Okay.
Right. She says clear long-term strategy instead of lurching from self-inflicted wounds to embarrassing controversy week to week.
She's talking about herself like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No,
Self-inflicted controversy.
week to week, crazy.
Yeah, like She
Wow.
realizes she's the one in charge right now, right? Like,
Well, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I think so.
okay,
I don't
because
know.
she's
Is she still blaming Snyder like 7 years later? I mean, there's got to be something she can blame.
No,
on him.
actually, at some point, I think she talks about Schneider, but it's that she worked with him to get some big thing accomplished for the state. But I think it's
Okay.
in here.
All right, yeah.
I'll get to that. She says, historically, Michigan has been the model for doing the hard things. Why does she keep saying that?
I wish she would give some context. What exactly is she talking about?
Right. Hard things, not getting kidnapped. I don't know. What are you talking about?
Building cars.
Right.
I guess we.
I mean, she's pretty much on the assembly line making these things, right?
Right.
Yeah, she's doing the hard thing.
Let's see. Michigan has been a model for doing the hard things. Just look at the Mighty Mac.
That was a long time
I'll
ago.
say she wasn't even around at that point. We haven't done anything more spectacular
So,
than
yeah.
that.
If we're going back to like
I
what,
know,
50,
right?
56 or
We
something
have
like that.
we have
yeah.
a long history of doing things like this thing we did 100 years ago. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that long ago.
Nothing like
but
current.
When did we finish the Mackinac Bridge? Does anybody know? I'm
I
gonna
have
look it up.
no idea. Look it up.
I'm going with like 56.
Look it up.
Let's
He's gonna look it up.
Tell him look it up, Jamie.
Because there's a pizzeria right there in Mackinac City that's got the whole history. That's why
Yeah.
Right.
but my memory isn't what it used to be. So, but I'm going with 56. What's your guess, Chris?
I'm gonna say early 50s, probably 52, 53. I mean, people were blowing off of it because they didn't know how to secure themselves.
No, November 1st, 1957.
Oh,
Ooh,
57.
That's pretty close. Okay.
Okay, still. I mean, we haven't accomplished anything since then.
Yeah.
The Mighty Mac.
You notice she said we built.
Right, and then she says, we have worked across the aisle between government at all levels and across industries of all kinds to make meaningful, lasting progress. Let me highlight just a few of the hard things that we've done together.
Here we go.
Oh, here
Let's
we
hear
go.
it.
When did she work across the aisle, though?
Never. The answer is never.
I'll take
The answer
not
when-
once.
when she hugged Donald Trump and took credit for what he did.
Oh, yeah, it's about to
The
come
other-
up. Yeah.
Okay.
She says, first, suffrage. That's what you were talking about.
That wasn't her.
Back in 2014, the A-10 Warthogs at the air base in Macomb County were set to be retired. The clock was ticking. A lot was at risk without another mission. After a decade of fierce, consistent Michigan advocacy, President Trump announced last month that Suffrage would receive a new fighter mission of F-15X jets. This move protects 30,000 jobs, 5,000 military families, and $850 million of statewide commerce for Michigan. This is a BFD. If you don't know what that is, that's a big effing deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love the class of our governor.
Right.
So I got a question real quick. Chris, you're a former military.
Yeah.
Would this be a good thing with protecting the people and the interest of the military?
Yeah.
Why do we do things to protect federal jobs, to protect commerce?
I don't know.
Shouldn't we be doing this because it's the right move to make from a military standpoint?
Yeah, but she can't say that.
I just don't understand how it protects $850 million of state commerce. I mean, Suffrage is a Air National Guard base.
Yep.
And if anybody knows National Guard, it's 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the summer. Unless they get called off to go
Right.
to the other side of the globe for some conflict that we have no business being in.
Well, that's a whole nother episode.
So I'm just saying.
But again, she basically says it in her speech. She didn't do that. She had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Well,
She
hold
said
on. I'm
they've
sure.
been
Give it a
fighting.
sec. I'm sure she's going to
She
take
said
claim
they've
here.
been fighting. Saving Suffrage was a Team Michigan effort. I advocated for the base in a face-to-face meeting at the White House every year since I took office in 2019. I won't lie. Usually when someone starts a sentence with, not gonna lie, they're about to lie.
So basically, what she's saying is she's been fighting for this
Ever since she got elected.
ever since she got elected, but
Yeah.
it took Donald Trump to make it happen.
Right. She's been going face-to-face with the presidents every year. I won't lie. It made for some odd moments and even odder photographs.
What do you suppose it was like going face to face with the auto pen?
Oof.
That would have been an awkward exchange.
That would have been so. Well, she says that, and she said, "Where am I?" She said, "It made for some odd moments and even odder photographs."
Yeah, there you go. Just arm around the auto pen. She couldn't even get the auto pen to agree with her.
Right.
She said, "But at the end of the day, we delivered. We saved an economic anchor of our of one of our state's largest and most prestigious counties. We bolster our other bases, and we strengthen our growing defense and aerospace industries. We can do hard things.
Okay.
She did nothing. Trump said, yeah, you'll get the planes.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'll be honest, I'm a little sad the A-10s are going away. That's one of my favorite planes.
I'm just saying.
Those-
It's
the-
crazy.
The meme for the birthday. Happy birthday. I mean, that alone.
Yeah.
As long as we keep that around, we can get
we
rid of
can
the planes.
keep the
but
meme. We
yeah,
can
we
keep
got to
the
keep the
meme.
meme.
So-
because those are fun planes.
So now she says, moving on to Medicaid. It's a lifeline for 2.6 million Michiganders, including 3 and 5 nursing home residents, 300,000 people with disabilities, and nearly half of the births in Michigan, including 84% of the deliveries at the Detroit Children's Hospital.
So wait a minute. Is the COVID queen talking about the great things she's doing for the seniors in nursing centers? Did she really bring that up?
She's talking about Medicaid. But then, oh, no.
But
'cause-
hey, it's like Will Smith. Keep my name's wife,
Right.
or
Keep
my
my
wife's name out of your mouth, right? It's like you don't say the word nursing home if you're Gretchen Whitmer.
You don't get to talk about nursing homes.
You do not get to talk about it. So
Where's your speechwriter? Come on.
if you're not sure
Chat
what's
GPT
going on with that,
doesn't know.
yeah,
ChatGPT.
go to our buddy Chad or Google
Yeah.
and just put in Gretchen Whitmer nursing homes, because during COVID, it was not pretty.
So,
Let's just say I had a parent in a nursing home at the time, and it was. Yeah.
So she says, last week, Republicans in the U.S. House passed legislation to cut hundreds of billions of dollars from the Medicaid and SNAP. The cuts would terminate health care for millions of our most vulnerable friends, families, and neighbors. It would threaten food that nearly 15% of Michiganders rely on to feed themselves and their kids.
We talk about this, and I know the last episode Nate was on, we talked about schools. So people don't realize how much fraud and waste there is in those cuts, right? So, and I know you know more about this than I do, probably, Nate, but I know you have people that get their SNAP card, right?
Right.
Which is the old school version of food stamps. So you get that. And then the school says, okay, guess what? On top of that, now I'm going to give your kids a free lunch. And then they say, well, on top of that, now we're going to give them a free breakfast.
Yep.
And now on top of that, we're going to send them home with a dinner because they're, because you work late, so we're going to feed them. So now what happens is the school is pulling money
Right.
for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So
And
the
a
question
snack.
is,
They do send snacks home,
and
too.
snacks, is any of that being deducted from their SNAP card, which is supposed to feed their kids?
No, because their SNAP card is for what? That's for them, correct? For like their household.
Their household.
Yeah.
But if the last I recalled, their children would be part of the household.
I know.
So if I get a SNAP based off of my income and it's to feed my family, but now, and they even do during the summer, they even have summer buses that go around and feed these kids, right? So now the school's feeding them breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
Why am I still getting the same amount of money in my SNAP card?
So here's something I don't, maybe you know or don't know. And this was again during COVID, but maybe it shed some clarity on this. The schools that are part of the free lunch program, the federal free lunch program, I don't know what all schools in the county are. I know that Northwest is. During COVID, when the students weren't going to school to get their free lunch, the government came up with some formula for dollar value, and they started sending out EBT cards for that value.
Yep.
So, and they came in large chunks.
Sending them to who?
So I have 3 kids that were in the public school system at the time. I've never been on EBT in my life, right?
Right.
And I'm not shaming anyone that has.
No,
been,
I mean, there's
right.
people that truly need it.
but we've never done that. They sent my wife and I 3 EBT cards because we have kids in a public school system that got free lunch. Now, my kids tend to pack their lunches. They don't eat the free lunch at the school because they don't like the food. But the government said, this is a benefit you get through the SNAP program. for having kids in this school. It's our responsibility to feed them. So since we weren't able to do that because we won't let them come to school, here's all this money. And it wasn't, I mean, we were getting EBT cards that were charged with like $1,200 on them. And I'm like,
That's
really?
for the year?
And that was...
Would that have been for the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically calculated off of like what's the dollar value of the free lunch times how many days of school was missed because of
Right.
shutdowns. And every single parent that in that district got a card for every single child in that district.
My gosh.
So,
So you got like $3,600.
I mean, and this went on for like 2 years.
Right.
Like, they kept just putting more money on them, and we're like, what's going on?
Dad is buying lobster today.
You know what?
Crazy.
And I'm not too proud to say, and maybe I shouldn't have spent the money.
Why?
You know
Did you,
what?
Did you spend it on food?
We did.
There you go.
But
That's what it was meant for.
But to be fair, I felt like, you know what? I pay enough taxes. They're going to give me a little bit back. I'm going to spend it. Maybe
Right.
that was the wrong thing to do.
See, I went the wrong route. I had my kids
No.
in private school, so not only was I paying for them not to be in school,
I mean, what were you gonna do?
I
Send it
didn't
back?
get the free lunch cards.
Yeah. You didn't get the free lunch card.
I didn't
no.
get the free lunch
But-
cards.
So
but-
were you gonna send it back? If you weren't gonna spend it, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not sending it
It
back.
would just sit there forever, I guess.
And-
but
right.
But I guess one of the points of me saying that is clearly that money is coming from that program and it's calculated in. So to your point, I don't
Yeah.
think that's being deducted from the total, right? But
Right.
it is still coming
Right.
out of that fund, right?
Right.
So,
It's double dipping.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's no other way to look at it. It's still double dipping.
Yep.
So
but in regards to that whole thing, I don't even know if that's the biggest issue. I do think that, like with any government program, there's a ridiculous amount of abuse, fraud, waste. And I think you can identify in those programs enough of that you can, if you get rid of that, you can reduce the budget and probably at the same time give more to the people that actually need it. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
But you have to be willing to make a difficult decision, right? To say we're gonna cut this fraud and waste out, which is going to be spun in the political realm as you're cutting people's benefits,
Yeah.
right? Because we got to make it. We got to paint the worst possible picture.
Right.
But if what's actually happening is we're eliminating the fraud and the waste, we're going to take care of people that actually need to be taken care of, that aren't just abusing government systems, right? I think I don't see how that's the wrong move.
And here,
All right, that concludes part 1 of our reaction to Governor Whitmer's speech. If you like this and you want to see what else is going on in part 2, where we talk about Medicaid and other topics, don't forget to hit that like, that share, subscribe, maybe even ring the bell. That way you don't miss part 2, which will be coming out on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Until next time, thanks for watching Stars, Stripes, and Straight Talk. We'll see you in the next video.